Let's talk about how you can build the most basic system that's at least going to enable your revenue channel, right? Your revenue machine. This is what we're trying to build. You need to think about the tools that will help you to build awareness and essentially demand then for your product. So when you hear people talk about demand gen, that's what they're talking about. We're going to get out there, we're going to tell people about what you're doing, and we want to make sure that they're aware first, right? That's where demand comes from. If I can build awareness of our ability to solve a problem, that's what we're going to do first, and the tools to do that. So in your actual tool chain, these are going to be your email sending tools. They're potentially part of your CRM like HubSpot, Pipedrive, Salesforce. You probably want to pair that with some tool set or vendor partner who can seek out leads. So they're going to use something like a LinkedIn Navigator, Sales Navigator, or their own research platform, or some kind of data sources, and pull together leads there. There's a piece of tool chain that has a lot to do with demand gen. Then what you want to do is you want to think about, how do I get people to show interest in and submit their lead information? Now, we may actually already know their lead information because we reached out and contacted them, but they experienced that as a sort of an outbound. They didn't have intent there. One of the really most important things that we like to drive our customers to do is make sure their website is really tight on the funnel. And what I mean by that is, we want to not distract the customer or the prospect when they come to the site. So we want to give them really good information, really good calls to action. Those are going to be your buttons. You can do all this with WordPress, or if you wanted to advance to something like a HubSpot CMS, you can do that. It's going to be more expensive. So, WordPress is a great place to start. You can use landing page tools, like Unbounce and other things like that. You want to drive people to a two-step process. We really like this, where, initially they submit their lead contact information, and we want to keep that as minimal as possible. So you need, your form builder, and it's going to, click their name and an email address. If, really keep it basic. Then you at least can contact them and they've shown interest. And we want to use a tool like a HubSpot or other CRM that can drip out information to them and kind of say, hey, we saw you submitted your information, and here's some stuff that you should know about. So, right, provide some educational content. That's going to be on email. Then the next stage you want them to try to do is book a meeting with you, right? Appointments are really important. So you need a calendar booking tool, again, like a HubSpot or a Calendly, or there's all kinds of different tools that can do that, and they install the widget on your website. So first, the lead form gets you some basic information. Then the next one is, when you book a meeting, we like to then ask for the mobile phone number. So, hey, we're just going to text you maybe, or let you know that the meeting time is ready, that you booked. And you'd be surprised that people will, at that point, now been engaged with you enough that they will typically give you their mobile phone number. So that goes into the CRM as well. Then we ultimately get to the meeting, and you've got a different sort of scheduling that happened, and it has, for example, like a Zoom meeting, or you've got to use your VoIP calling service like a Dialpad or HubSpot calling or something like that. That information ought to be recorded. Now, with permission, you should ask people before you record them, but most are going to be fine. And the way that the tactic we would use there is say, hey, we want to be able to show this to other people on our team. Is it cool if we hit record? And people will typically do that. And so you're either going to have audio or video recording there. You want to be taking notes during calls, so you've got to have your CRM up in front of you, some kind of note-taking mechanism. Again, we like to use HubSpot for that, but any CRM would work. And take detailed notes, and then those go into the buyer record, and your CRM social track your deal flow. So every stage at which that communication is happening, we want to make sure we attach the recording to that. We want to have the notes, and then we want to be able to put that together in a way that will pass on to other systems, which are really, again, operations, because a call happened. Now, what different steps should we do to make sure that call was effective? So we might have to give a proposal, or send additional information, or schedule a follow-up. All those things should be automated, and all those things are driven through a contact mechanism that is going to go through somewhere else in that CRM tool chain, and tie together the ability to, let's say we make a proposal and we use Google Docs and DocuSign or HelloSign, and that goes out. Well, now we need to have a follow-up mechanism for that too. And again, tying together tools to make sure that we're making really effective use of that time where the sales leader or rep is on those calls. And while all that is happening in the background, what's happening is the next call is already happening for the sales rep while the ops team is then working on using those tools to make sure that the right stuff is going out at the right time. Ultimately, something gets signed, and then you need to go into some kind of payment methodology where you're going to tie together, I don't know, your Stripe or your accounting team or your accounting software and make sure that you're tracking your accounts receivable. I think the main point is that all the tools need to tie together. There's a lot of different tools, and the collection of the tools that you use impacts every other area of the company because revenue is that core function. So you need to be able to pass along the right information to the delivery team if somebody actually signs up. Well, what's that look like? The key point is always that there are information passing from different members of the team to other members of the team who are supposed to do particular things for the customer. And tools like Asana or Trello or other project management tools are going to be really important there, because how does information get from sales to delivery if in fact we actually close the customer? How does finance and accounting know to bill the customer under what particular terms? These are all things that need to take place and be managed and written down and processed, and the tool chain will allow you to do that.